With the 2025 NBA Las Vegas Summer League in the rearview mirror, the Toronto Raptors have not only left behind the sand and the crippling gambling addiction that comes with being in Sin City, but also their blood, sweat, and tears, as this year's group of guys put together one hell of a performance, and I'll say the best showing in Summer League in Raptors history. With next season supposed to be a step back into contention, hopefully, this year at Summer League was very important, as this roster featured a lot of our bench and rotation pieces, whose development would be really important in order for us to make it back into the postseason. And I absolutely loved what I saw for the most part. The Raptors played absolutely ferocious defense all tournament long, which led to us having a 4-0 record and a spot in the playoffs, which unfortunately we fell short in. I know it's just Summer League and it's not anything to take too seriously. However, forcing 133 turnovers in just 5 games isn't easy. This team was full of absolute dogs, and if you weren't locked in on D,
what did he say?
You didn't have a spot on the team. Now, predictably, the offense and the efficiency was a real struggle, and that is something to be taken very seriously heading into next season. However, if the bench could just play with this level of intensity on the defensive end, I'll be okay. That's all I'm asking for now anyways. But enough beating around the bush. We all know why we're here after all. That's right, it's time for me to get out my red pen and look over some work, because for the 5th year in a row, it's time to hand out some grades for the Toronto Raptors at the NBA Las Vegas Summer League 2025 edition. But before we get to the grades, please remember to give this video a like, share with anybody you want to, and subscribe to the channel. I'll greatly appreciate any support you're willing to give. And if you want, please follow me on TikTok and Instagram at SportsButCasually. And now, let's get back to the video. And just like always, since there's so many players competing for playing time, there will naturally be some players who would be on the court more than others. So unfortunately, these players will not be receiving a grade this year. Annie Waniwa Tate Jones, I butchered that name, I do apologize. Tyson Degenhart, Tyree Key, Cliff Omorui, Jarkel Joyner, and Quincy Guerrier. Again, I've probably butchered a lot of those names and I do apologize. The first player to be graded this year is the main attraction, the 9th pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, Collin Murray-Boyles. And I would say he was as advertised as he came out from college. He's a freak of nature athlete who has a motor that's always ready to go. He's physical, and he had his hand and his fingers and practically everything else on the defensive side of the ball. He was everywhere and he was racking up hella stocks. He had an impact on the defensive side right away. Now, does that mean he was perfect? Absolutely not. He had some offensive struggles, especially in his first and last game. But, I could at least chalk one of those up to being like working off injury rust. So there's that. What more can I say about CMB, man? He led the team in offensive rebounds and was second in total rebounds. He was second on the team in blocks. However, offensively, we did struggle a bit. He was, I think, like top 3 on the team in fouls and turnovers. So there's those things on that aspect at least. He finished Summer League as our defensive pillar, which is saying something. It's a huge compliment when you consider just like how insane this team was defensively. He was very active on the glass. He showed some playmaking ability, but as I highlighted, he is a little foul and turnover prone, but he had flashes of offensive brilliance, and I'll take that for now. I'm sure we're only just scratching the surface of his potential, and it'll be interesting to see how he breaks into the Raptors rotation exactly. We're all aware of, his struggles and what he brings to the table, but if he has a consistent stretch of performances like he did against the Warriors, I honestly think that he could be in contention this year for Rookie of the Year, which is saying something. For his 2025 Summer League performance, I'm going to give CMB a B+. And now we move on to our 39th pick in this year's draft. From the national champs Florida Gators, the team I picked to win March Madness, even though I don't watch college ball, I'm just pretty insanely smart, Elijah Martin. He's another high energy, athletic, defensively gifted player. And stepping on the court in Summer League, Martin really picked up right where he left off, and he just showed his grit and his relentless hustle on the court. And I really like that about him. You know, whether it was getting out in transition, causing turnovers, acting as a secondary playmaker from time to time, you know, Martin really had his hand in like multiple pots for this team in Summer League. And it's really kind of showed a master of none, no, that was more of an insult, jack of all trades, that's the phrase I'm looking for, type of player. However, despite his tenacity, Martin, as we all expected, did struggle with his efficiency and just his scoring in general, like if it wasn't coming in transition. But what I really did enjoy about him, he did show a lot of potential, a lot of skill, driving to the basket and drawing free throws and knocking down his free throws at a very efficient clip, you know, which is something easier said than done. And yes, I am looking at you, RJ. We need to get that free throw percentage up. His scoring was mediocre at best, but, you know, he had a lot of impact plays coming off the bench and showed his potential to be a two-way player. So for his 2025 NBA Summer League performance, I'm going to give Elijah Martin a B-. And now for our final rookie this season, our undrafted free agent from Louisville, Chucky Hepburn. And he is, you guessed it, a high-energy defensive player. Damn, we really have a type, huh? You know, at first it used to be like 6'9" forwards who couldn't shoot but could defend well. And now it evolved into like guys of any size who can't shoot but could defend well. Okay. Chucky carried over his defensive prowess from the ACC to Summer League, as he provided elite perimeter defense. He caused a lot of havoc and turnovers and really got out there in transition. And what I really liked about him was that he did provide some playmaking, and I would arguably say was our second best playmaker on the team. However, on offense, it was a struggle. Like, all 5 games, he only knocked down like 5 shots. One of them was only one was a 2-pointer. And like his free throw percentage does look pretty good, but he got all of his 3 free throw attempts like in his last game. So just on a whole, his scoring was hard to come by for him. His efficiency was bad across the board, and it didn't really help that, you know, he had a habit of fouling a lot. His Summer League stint didn't really show us anything new per se. Spotty scoring at best, but a steady defensive presence and like some good playmaking ability. But yeah, for his 2025 Summer League performance, I'm going to give Chucky Hepburn a C+. Moving on to our sophomores, and the first one we have to get to is last year's 19th overall pick, Ja'Kobe Walter. He came into Vegas looking to build off of an impressive rookie season, and this did look very promising. He continued to flash his two-way ability and his big shot taker mentality, you know, which did lead to some inefficiency. But like in a weird way, I don't really mind that. Outside of his like truly putrid game against the Warriors, Walter was a reliable offensive option. He showed flashes of being a true 3-level scorer, and he had the great ability to create for himself and get his own shot, which is a skill that will be pretty useful for the bench going into next season. He had multiple 15+ point games in the Summer League. He even had like a 1-7 steal game. I think it was against the Nuggets. So that really just showed like the energy that he was bringing to both sides of the ball. Now, we have to focus on the negatives and nitpick a bit. You know, his 3-ball needs a lot of work. Like his playmaking ability was not, I don't want to say non-existent, that's rude, but not really that good. And, you know, just like a lot of our guys, like with so much effort you're putting on the defensive end, he did have a tendency to foul a lot. He led us in total points and total shots taken. And I really do like the confidence on this guy. You know, he always used to take it upon himself to try to get this team out of an offensive dry spell, you know, which takes a lot of balls to do. He's hoping that he has a productive sophomore season with the team. And for his performance in the 2025 Summer League, I'm going to give Ja'Kobe Walter an A-. Why not? And now we move on to last year's 31st pick in the draft, Johnathon Mogbo. After an up and down rookie season last year, Mogbo really came into Vegas looking to get a head start in solidifying a place in the rotation, and I think he did a pretty good job. You know, he was very active, especially on the defensive end. He made a lot of good rotations, and he was very solid on the defensive side of the ball. And I found he made a lot less mistakes on offense, which, really gave me a lot of hope that he's starting to figure some things out. Last year, his finishing around the rim was really bad. He had bad touch overall. And I did find that got a little better in Summer League. It really showed that he was working on it in the offseason. And he was still very active on the boards. And, I was impressed by it. Besides missing a game due to injury, some things that I wasn't too impressed by. I wish he would have attempted more threes. He only took 2. And I did find his playmaking something that was a real skill last season. His playmaking was kind of meh. That was his overall Summer League performance in my opinion. He didn't do anything that was wow, so amazing. But in that same breath, he also didn't do anything that was oh, that was fucking terrible. Just solid, consistent improvements across the board. And I can't really be too upset with that. For his performance in the 2025 Las Vegas Summer League, I'm going to give Johnathon Mogbo a B-. And now we move on to last year's 45th overall pick, Jamal Shead, the player that I personally was expecting the most from in Summer League. The reason for that is because now he's the de facto backup point guard, and we need to see general improvement from him. And I was really impressed by the shift he put in Vegas. His Summer League performance really highlighted his ability to orchestrate the offense, handle the pressure of not only that, but still being an active competitor on defense with his hands. I thought there was steady to steady, game to game improvement from him outside of the game against the Warriors, which I think everybody just fucking sucked that game. His playmaking was on point. I think it was 33 total assists throughout Summer League. He averaged 6.6 assists per game, which, fun fact, is the second most assists per game in Raptors Summer League history. Why do I know that? I have a lot of free time on my hands. That's why. Now, most players, if not majority of the players on this team, his offensive struggles were very apparent. His efficiency wasn't that good. But, he's a small guy, so his efficiency will always be a problem. And, let's talk about the final game against the Kings in the semifinals. A 20-point double-double, sparks, offensive comeback. I think we cut a leaf that was 22 to 1. He truly was a beacon for this team on both ends of the floor. But for his performance at the 2025 NBA Summer League, I'm going to give Jamal Shead a B+. And now for our last 2024 draftee, Ulrich Chomche, who is unfortunately going to be the last Masai Ujiri project player. The former 57th overall pick and the first ever draftee from the NBA Africa Academy, Chomche unfortunately suffered a season-ending injury this year in February. I think it was a right partial MCL tear, which ended his season. So coming into Summer League, not only were my expectations low because he's new to the game of basketball still, but he was also coming off an injury, so it was extra low. However, I was very pleasantly surprised. I did not find that he missed a beat athletically, and he did seem a lot sharper on the court compared to last season in Summer League. There were still mental lapses, don't get me wrong. But, he really did show a lot of improvement and looks like he's getting more comfortable with the game at this level. And I was really impressed by his defensive instincts. He was super locked in on that side of the ball. First 2 games, 10 stocks. Those numbers did go down as Summer League went on. But he put together good performance after good performance after good performance. And I think in the semifinals, he even started that game. Put up an absolute stinker in it, not gonna lie, but he did at least got the start. But yeah, liked what I saw from Chomche, nothing too crazy. So for his 2025 Summer League performance, I'm gonna give him a B-. And now it's time we get to arguably last year's most impressive rookie, Jamison Battle. It's funny how things change. Just last year, Battle was walking into Summer League looking to impress enough to get an Exhibit 10 deal by any team after going undrafted. And this year, he walked into Summer League with a fully guaranteed deal with the Raptors. Hats off to him. What a guy. What a story. What a fucking shooter. And he showcased exactly why the Raptors chose to guarantee his bread for the upcoming season. His 3-point shooting prowess, like he even had a buzzer beater, and like he just showed that like, hey, I'm ready to take that next step to be a rotation piece. I did find that he showed a lot of effort on the defensive side of the ball. Now, if that resulted in anything like positive, I don't really think so, but he showed a lot of effort there. He didn't do anything too flashy or out the ordinary, but he shot the ball very well. And on this team, how it's constructed right now, that is a skill that is in high demand. For his performance in the 2025 NBA Summer League, I'm going to give Jamison Battle a B+. I saved these last two players for last because these are the players that would be getting our awards this year for Summer League. First up, we're going to get to the player that got the award that you don't want to get, Colin Castleton. Colin came into Summer League looking to lock up that third string center position. His competition was Chomche, and you would have thought that, hey, you know, he's still very new to the game and he's coming off an injury. You would think that Colin would use this kind of head start as to his advantage and put in a good shift in Vegas and really go into preseason and go into training camp with like a head start on that position. But unfortunately, that did not happen. I'm not trying to rag on the guy, you know, it wasn't all bad in my opinion. I did find that in the first 2 games, he rebounded very well and he got out there in transition as a runner and scored some easy baskets. So that was nice. And outside of some rim protection, he really did struggle on the defensive side of the ball. He started getting his minutes cut, and I think he even lost his starting spot. If that matters too much in Summer League. It's just he wasn't physical and his finishing was bad for a guy his size. It was super concerning. And then he just kept turning the ball over. Colin was unable to capitalize on the head start he had over Chomche for that third string center position. And with the possibilities of going small ball with guys like Mogbo and even CMB being there, his chances got slimmer and slimmer. And unfortunately, on the 28th of July, he was released by the Raptors. So for his performance, I'm going to give Colin Castleton a D+. And he does pick up the LVP award for Summer League, the least valuable player. But last but not least, we have the man of the hour, the MVP for the Raptors in Summer League, the hometown boy himself, AJ Lawson. Coming into Vegas this year, Lawson was looking to replicate his solid Summer League performance last year with the Mavericks so that he can remain with the Raptors come opening night. Let's remember that his contract is non-guaranteed and it doesn't fully guarantee until I think it's January 10th. So he's still basically fighting for a roster spot. And he fought for that roster spot with his literal life, I'm assuming, because he came off the bench for the Raptors and was by far our best offensive player and put in one of the best performances of the entire 2025 Summer League for scoring wise, defensively wise, playmaking wise, you name it. AJ Lawson was top tier this year. 3 games of 19 plus points, which included a perfect 21 point per game. But it wasn't just on the offensive side. He was just as locked in on the defensive side of the ball as everybody else on his team. He averaged 2.6 stocks per game. Despite his injury in the 4-game stretch, he showed a lot of potential as a guy who sets the tone defensively and could spark offense coming off the bench. And, I'm just super excited of, what he can do for us coming off the bench this season. And if he keeps up this momentum heading into preseason and heading into training camp, there'll be no doubt in my mind that come January 10th, he will be getting his full check from the Raptors. For his performance in the 2025 NBA Las Vegas Summer League, I'm going to give the MVP, you guessed it, an A+. Overall, everybody, this, I've been watching and covering, I'm not a journalist, Raptors Summer League for 5 years. This was the most fun I've had watching Summer League ball. Summer League ball, you get excited because oh my god, I haven't seen our team play in so long. But then you realize it's Summer League and it's just hoops for the sickos. And I enjoyed every second of it. I'm trying to keep my hopes, like, you know, it's the hope that kills you. Shout out Ted Lasso. I'm just trying to keep it at a minimum, but watching somebody got me pretty excited for this bench unit. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think of the grades? Who would you grade differently? And what are your expectations for the Bench Mob 2.0 heading into next season? I'd love to, you know, read them and hear about them in the comments below. And until next time, guys, thanks for tuning in. And if you're wondering why I have a hat on at 11:41 at night in my room, got a haircut today and barber fucked me up. So yeah, gotta take time off of work. Nobody could see me like this. But until next video, guys, y'all take care.